Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for registering our first session of Health and Wellness Silver Series, organized by People Associations. Singapore University of Social Science, CC's class have been suspended during the circuit breaker period. We would like to continue to engage you all through the virtual platform. We hope you can continue to learn, enrich yourself, enjoy our webinar. Since this is a Silver Series, we are happy to engage faculty members, alumni, and students from SUSS Gerontology Programme, fitness trainer from Sport SG, and some of our community partners to share with you all on different topics, including happiness, nutrition, physical activities, even our life during the CB. From today till 8th of May. We hope to take this opportunity to encourage family and caregiver to join us. If you can, please also help your parents or grandparents to register our session too. Let's have a fun together. Today, I'm very happy as I'm the host of these sessions. My name is Carol, head of the Gerontology Programme from SR London School of Human Development, SUSS. Our school vision is transformation, serving others. We have set up a gerontology network to engage our alumni, students, faculty, and community partners to serve. Today, I'm very pleased to introduce our first cohort alumnus, Miss Juliana. Jules is a gerontologist, and she is also a psychotherapist. She is the co-founder of the Affirmative People to build affirmative community through transformative health and wellness initiative. Today, Jules is going to talk about happiness in our Silver Day. Before we start the sessions, let me tell you some rules. We encourage you to turn on your video so that we can do exercise together. If you can prepare a pen and a paper, that will be very good because Jules is going to do some activities with you all. If you want to ask questions, you can type your questions in the chat. Are you all ready?
Hi everyone, my name is Jules and Dr. Carol was my teacher when I was studying gerontology. So I'm actually very excited to do this session with her. So let me share my screen. And okay, so yes, today my presentation is about living life to your fullest. And living life to your fullest is actually all about happiness. And let's start by doing a meditation. So when everybody is ready, I just want everybody to just calm down and just sit back and relax. All right? So when you're settled in your chairs, you can just close your eyes. Take deep breaths in and out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the furniture supporting you and allow a drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. Allow your muscles and nerves to turn loose as you just let go and just go deeper into a state of relaxation. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do, absolutely no distraction or disturbances. This is a time for you. You are absolutely enough, absolutely worthy. You are totally deserving of everything wonderful and amazing. This is a time to just rediscover yourself. Just allow yourself to go deeper into an awareness of yourself. Just allow yourself to close your eyes and just relax. And give yourself the time, the awareness, so that new doors are opening. New doors to opportunities, new doors to awareness, and new possibilities. Closing the old doors behind you. Now I want everybody to just put your hands on your chest. Just put your hands on your chest. Just one hand on the chest and just close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed. Feel your heart beating. I would like to introduce everyone to my grandmother. So this is my grandmother. she was illiterate and she doesn't know how to read and write. However, she's the smartest person that I know. You know, when we go to the market, she knows every single piece of fish, every single herbs, all the vegetables, and she knows gardening. But for me, when I go to the market, I will just know 3 types of fish: white fish, red fish, and orange fish, which is the salmon, the cod fish, and I think the red snapper. Yeah. Then my grandmother, when I was young, she was the one who taught me how to cook. But when she was cooking, she doesn't use any recipe at all. And sometimes it just frustrates the hell out of me, because when she wants to cook and she just tells me to create it in my mind and just cook and do not be attached to the outcome. And I find it very, very strange, because if you don't have a recipe, you do not know what's the outcome, you cannot prepare for it. But she always teach me that, you know, whatever the outcome, you just deal with it, you just manage it and think of ways of how to solve it. When things go wrong, you just breathe in and just be in your element and just do what you can to rectify it. And you know what? I was a police officer for several years, and I even undertook a 9-month training as a senior police officer. And when I was training, I was always thinking that, you know, leadership skills do not only start at the time when you train as an officer, it starts when you are young. And really, my crisis management skills started when my grandmother started to teach me how to cook. So I'm sharing this story with you because I want you to know that even as a senior, even my grandmother who is illiterate, she made such a deep impact in my life. And I'm very, very happy to share this session with you today, because whatever that I teach you or whatever that I share, you can actually share it with someone else in your family, be it your son, your children, your grandchildren, who may be full of anxiety because of the future, or because of their businesses, or because of their career. So yeah, let's get started. One of my mentors, she was saying to me that happiness is actually a continuum. You can actually be unhappy. You can be happy for bad reasons. Yeah, this one a lot of people are guilty for. Like, for example, you eat a lot of chocolates, you eat a lot of sweets and sugar, and then you feel happy. And that's happy for bad reason. And then there's happy for good reason. For example, your family is doing well, you get to spend time at home right now and really relax and slow down. That's happy for good reasons. But the happiness that we are all striving for is actually happy for no reason. It is the inner state of peace and well-being. This is what Marcy wrote in her book, Happy for No Reason. And it was one of the New York Times bestseller. And I'm sharing this because I believe that a lot of people, a lot of seniors, they go through life, or rather they live every day, living life. Maybe they are happy, they may be at peace, but there is a difference between going through life and having breakthroughs in life. That is something that you need to think about. For example, there are some seniors that they wake up every day at 4 a.m. and they clean the house. And then house cleaning become the major focus in their life, instead of something that is meaningful, something that is productive, or even something that really gives them the inner sense of peace and well-being. So how do we proceed from here? In order to have that sense of inner peace and well-being, what we need to do is really to take ownership of our life. And what do I mean by ownership of life? When I was a teenager, I joined the NPCC. And in NPCC is the National Police Cadet Corps. No, it's the National Police Cadet Corps. Yeah. So they teach us something that is called ABCD. No arguing, no bargaining, no complaining, and no demanding. And we all know that Singapore is actually a country where there's a lot of people complaining all the time. And Marcy, in her book, she wrote that, we really shouldn't be complaining, because we are dishonoring the struggles that we are facing. When we complain, we do not really understand the lessons behind the things that we are going through, and the experiences that we can learn from it. And a lot of times when we are complaining, it's like the thousand mirror story. I'm sure some seniors have heard of this story. It's the story of the dog that went out of the village, and then he came across this house. And this house is very interesting because it has like it has red bricks and it's so huge. And then this dog went into this house. And what happens was this dog saw many other dogs staring at him, baring teeth, and really being unfriendly. And he, feeling scared, he ran off back to the village. And he was telling the other dog, he was telling the other dog that, hey, don't ever go to that red house. It's so scary. Everybody is so unfriendly, and everybody threatening to attack me. So this other dog, being a curious dog, he actually went back to the same house. And he looked at the house and expecting very threatening, unfriendly faces. But what he sees is really, smiling, happy faces. And the dogs are welcoming him. And he went back to the first dog that told him the story of the threatening dogs. And they both couldn't come to an argument because both are right. It's actually a house of mirrors. And this story I read from a Buddhist book, a Buddhist magazine, and it kind of changed the way I look at life, because when we take ownership of our life and then we stop complaining, there's a certain element, a certain perspective that we see in things where we take action rather than just complain. So is happiness determined by circumstances? A lot of times people say things like, I will only be happy when something else happens, when I win the 4D, or when I win Toto, or I'll be happy when my son comes back from overseas trip and accompany me. But research has shown that circumstances is only 10% of happiness. 40% of happiness is actually your habitual thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. These are the 40% that is within your circle of control. And if you don't believe research, or if you don't believe me, then how about the words of the dying? There's this author, she wrote about the 5 regrets of the dying. She wrote about the dying, because she's a palliative care nurse, and she wrote about what they say on their deathbeds. And the things that they say were, I wish I would have courage to live a life true to myself, not a life others expected of me. I wish I had expressed my feelings. I wish I had allowed myself to be happier. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. So you see, there's no, I wish I had win the Toto. There's no, I wish I had, a better job. I wish I had worked harder. There's no such things. Most of the time, our happiness is really true. It's really based on our habitual thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. So knowing that, I would love to introduce you the Just Band framework. This framework has helped me through my transformation. For example, B is belief systems, E emotional mastery, N is nourishing relationships. These 3 form the basis of what your transformation can look like. Then you can have the directions in life. The directions in life can focus on 3 things. You, and which is your circle of control. The second question mark is your circle of influence, which is your friends, your family, your colleagues, and the people that you meet on a day-to-day basis. The third question mark is actually your circle of concern, which is like government policies, things that happens beyond your control, like this COVID-19 situation. Now, let's talk about belief systems. So belief systems is actually what your experiences is, accumulation of your experiences in life. Aging is actually a process where your beliefs come to reality. You know how some people, they say that, oh my knees pain, everywhere pain, it's just a normal sense of aging, a normal process of aging. Then that's your belief system coming into play. What are your belief systems? Do you really believe that aging means pain and unhealthy, becoming unhealthy? Or where do you believe, where do you think that you can serve, what do you think you can do to actually determine where your life goes. So there's an exercise that I want everybody to do. Okay, what you can do is really to just put your hands together and put your wrists together like this.
How about just we take this opportunity to ask people to turn on their video, so somehow we can do the exercise together. Okay, so for those, if you are willing to turn on your video, and then we can see each other's, because we can take the opportunity to connect to each other's. Okay, okay,
yes.
so just you can start. Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, so basically take your wrists together and measure. There's a line here, so just measure the two lines together. Put the two lines together. Okay, put the two lines together and then close your hands like this. Okay, then you measure which hand is the shorter one, the shorter third finger. Whichever there is a shorter third finger, you take it out. The shorter third finger. Yeah, shorter third finger. So you measure, and whichever there is a shorter third finger, you take out. Take out and put in front of you. Okay? Okay, so when you're ready, take out. Now, I want you to look at your hands. Don't look at me, look at your hands. And just focus on your hands and say, grow.
Grow.
Just say it out loud. Really, really, trust me on this. Just say, grow. Okay, just keep looking at your hands and say, grow. 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 Just focus on your hands and just tell that hand to just grow. 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 Grow.
Grow.
Grow.
Grow.
Grow. Okay,
Grow.
last 3 times. Grow.
Grow. Grow.
Grow.
Grow.
Grow. Grow. Okay, now measure again. Anybody? Huh?
Yeah,
You know, so last time when I was dating someone, his mother was very angry with me because thinking that I'm a witch because I can do this kind of thing. But actually, no. All these are simply your belief systems. What you tell yourself actually has an impact on your body systems, and it's really very miraculous. So can you imagine when you tell your hands to grow, your hands really grow, and then when you tell yourself that, oh, I'm old already, I'm going to fall sick, and true enough, you will go down that line because that's what you tell yourself every day. So really, your belief systems play a part in your happiness. Yeah? Okay, next is emotional mastery. Do everybody have paper and pens? Okay, very good. Okay, so now with the paper and pen, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. So take these 3 minutes, just write down as many emotion words as you can, like happy, sad, all the words that is associated with emotions, feelings. Can you write that down? Let's have a competition. Anybody who has the highest can email me later. I can give you a free book.
Wow, there is a free book. Then I need to hurry up and put more work.
Yeah. Dr. Carol, you be the bad one, okay? You count the 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, as many words as possible. I think 3 minutes is too long, right? Anybody need more time?
Okay, last 1 minute.
It's okay if you don't have many, it's fine. Just know how many you have. Okay, when you have the number, count the number of words, put it inside the chat box. Then Dr. Carol can see who is the winner, who has the most number of words.
Wow, I saw one mention about 10.
Wow. So 10 is the highest?
14.
Wow, okay. Any
8.
authors here or not? Authors not counted, huh?
26. We have one is 26.
Must check, is there an author? If it's an author, not counted. Okay, so basically, why I'm asking you this, especially if you have less than 10, is because our emotional vocabulary really color our sense of the world, our experience of the world. For example, if you only have 3 words, sad, happy, angry, then you are just rotating in amongst these 3 energies. You can only be sad, happy, angry. Can you be trusting? Can you be receptive? Can you be curious? Can you be full of gratitude? These are words that can actually help you to get into a different kind of energy. And getting into different kind of energy is very, very important, because then it will expand the way you look at the world. It will expand the way you experience the world. So when you look at your list, it's okay if you have very little words. Now what you can do after this session is really to build up on your vocabulary and see how you can actually experience better emotional energies. And one of the reasons why I'm asking you to do this is because there's this thing called heart rate variability. If you see the graph that I'm showing here, the graph of frustration, your heart rate beats differently from appreciation. When you feel appreciation, your heart rate is different. And whenever I meet my clients, they cannot lie to me, because straight away when I check them, I can see the graph and I know what they are feeling, what they have been practicing in their lives. So whenever you're always frustrated, you are actually releasing a stress hormone, and you release cortisol in your body. It's a kind of chemical that erodes a lot of your organs, that causes illnesses such as diabetes, cancer, stroke, heart diseases. So your emotions have a direct play to how your health is. Even in places like US, Europe, what we do for cancer patients, whenever they go for radiation therapy, they will always follow up with either emotional therapy, counseling, or even hypnotherapy. And people like us, we help these people to heal their minds, because your body can heal, but your mind also need to heal. And also, when you are vibrating in the energy of frustration, it's very hard for you to have good relationships with others. How many people you know are very grumpy? You know, the grumpy senior is actually not a myth, but it's actually true in a sense, because a lot of seniors have gone through a lot of hardships. They have gone through, some of them have gone through wars, some of you have gone through wars, some of you have gone through really difficult times. And sometimes these difficult times is at the back of your mind, it's in your subconscious. And it's also something that colors your world. So you may not be able to trust people easily, or you may have this mentality of scarcity, that everything is not enough and that you have to keep everything to yourself. And that goes back to our next segment, which is nourishing relationships. So nourishing relationships, we know that relationships are very important, but we also know that relationships can sometimes be a source of pain. And what I want you to say here is really, when you look at your relationships, let's go back to the story of the 1,000 mirror, the story of the dog that I was saying just now, the 2 dogs. Yeah, the 1,000 mirror story. So when you look at relationships, it's actually an indication of who you are. What kind of emotions do you evoke in people? So if you're always grumpy, then you cannot expect people to be very happy around you. And then other people who are not happy around you, and then it makes you even more unhappy. So sometimes it may not be your fault, but from now on, it's your job to be aware of it. Okay? So one thing that, there's this writer that I love so much. His name is Rumi. And he says that, in order to have nourishing relationships, seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And this is very important for seniors, because a lot of us, especially in Asian context, we do not know how to be loving. We do not know how to express our love. But it's very important to differentiate yourself from this ability as something that is innate, or this ability that's something that you can learn. All of us can learn how to be more loving. We don't have to be loving overnight, suddenly loving overnight. People will be thinking you got fever. But, just 5%, take the steps to just change, at least maybe perhaps put in more effort, 5% maybe each day at a time, and just be consistent with it. And one thing I would like to share is the affirmative relationship framework. So when we talk about friendships, right, or we talk about relationships, most of the time we only think about family, friends, and then maybe lover, or wife, husband, grandchildren. But really, when you look at relationships, there are many aspects to relationships. You have your advisors, your coach, your mentors. Sometimes you might say, I'm so old already, why do I need an advisor? Well, then I'll put it to you, sometimes Olympic athletes, they may be the best in the field, but they still engage coaches. I'm not asking you to engage coaches as in paid coaches, but be aware that sometimes even at this age, you need people to be your advisor. It doesn't have to be paid, but you have to actively search for people whom you can learn from, people who can offer you wisdom, expertise, and help you identify your blind spots with your best interests at heart. Then second group is your peers. These peers are not your friends. They may not be your friends. They may or may not be your friends. But they may be, for example, they may be somebody who lives across the continent. They may be somebody from Europe, from US. They may also be aging, and they have standards that challenge you. They share common experiences as you, in a way that they are also going through the aging process. They may be coping with their grandchildren and their children and also their parents. So these are the people that you can learn from, even if you do not know them. So the third group is your supporters, your advocates. These are your friends, people who give you moral support, encouragement, and they are ready to be there for you. And to take it a step further, your generals are your inner circle, people who are responsible and capable enough to take management responsibility for your affairs. For example, if today you are down, perhaps you don't feel well and you need to rest, who are the ones that are taking care of the cooking, of the cleaning of your house, of your laundry? These are your generals, and most of the time they may be your partner, or they may be your friend, they are your family members. And the last group is your financiers, who says money is not important. Okay, so sometimes understanding that you also need financiers, people who provide you with money and resources when you need it. So looking at this affirmative relationship framework, it's not only identifying what you have in your life, but it's also identifying what are you giving back in your life. Have you been a mentor? Have you coached someone? Have you been an advisor to someone, like consciously? Have you been a peer? Have you inspired people across the globe with standards or that challenge them, or with benchmarks of maybe care or different ways of looking at things? So you inspire other people, inspire your peers. Have you been supportive of your friends? What have you done to actually support your friends and really make sure that they are feeling important and loved during this period of time, especially in COVID time? A lot of people are feeling lonely, and they may not be blessed to have good, strong families like everyone else. Yeah. And with this framework, this is actually a very basic one. There's an advanced one, which I'll pass it to you later. But then this one is just a simple framework for you to understand that, don't worry about copying it, because you will have all these resources later on. Yeah. So what you need right now is to really understand that there's different ways to look at relationships. And relationships is something that is very, very, very important, because it really, there's communication involved. And if you ever heard of the 5 languages of love, how you communicate with people are important. And at the same time, when you look at this affirmative relationship framework, you also see that there are boundaries. For example, if there are people who are supportive of you, but you cannot expect them to be your generals, you cannot expect your friends to maybe do your laundry. So there's a flow of trust. So friendships, relationships is actually the flow of trust. Where do you trust them? Which aspect do you trust people to be in? So this is very, very important. And the question I want to end in this relationship framework is really, what do you activate in others? Do you inspire people to be the best versions of themselves? And do you really interact with people intentionally. When you interact with people before you meet the person, do you intentionally think about how you want the other person to feel, how you want the interaction to be, or you just meet the person? Like sometimes when my sister call me, I'll be picking up the phone and say, what? That is very that is communicating without intentions. But if I were to look at my sister at the phone and look at my sister's number and thinking that, that, hey, she's calling me now. Okay, what I want out of this is at the end of the call, I want her to feel cared for. I want her to feel close to me. So when I pick up the call, my tone of voice, the way I speak will be different from just, being unaware of how we relate to people. Yeah. So with this, last thing that I want to share is your directions. What will life be like for you 60 years from now? And if you cannot see life 60 years from now, then perhaps you may see it as a limiting belief. If you think that, oh, by then I'll be dead. Well, you're not dead now, so we can't tell what is it in us for the future. But what we know is that technology is getting better and better, and we'll be able to envision your life. Let's say if you are able to live 60 years from now, you still have 60 more years to go, and you're doing the same thing every day over and over and over again. Can you take that? Or is that something that you need to think about something that you can think of? For example, you can think about lifelong learning, think about how you can take care of your health, because at the end of these 60 years, you want to be living your life healthy and not be suffering from chronic illnesses. Yeah. So I think I've talked a lot. So I just want to say, take charge of your life and your happiness. Be happy for no reason, and just remember the framework BEN. So congratulations, distinguished elders. And I always call my clients elders because I always call them empowered leaders doing everything strategically. So like all of you right here, right now, you are actually leaders in your own ways, just like my grandma, whom I have full respect for. You can actually live life doing things strategically. When you look at things, being aware of your belief systems, being aware of your emotions, and really cultivating nourishing relationships. So with that, I'd like to thank you, and just saying that if you have any insights or questions that you'd like to share with me, just reach out and just email me, or just go check out our website at standempowered.com/surfing60s. So Dr. Carol, any questions that we can engage people in?
Let's see whether we have any questions from the chat box.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know if I am thinking in a positive or negative loop? That's one question. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, when you are thinking in negative loop or positive loop, one way to know it? Okay, for example, there's two things that you need to take note of, be aware of yourself. There's the feeling of contraction, and then there's the feeling of expansion. When you make a decision about something, if the feeling is contracted, you don't feel good about it, then definitely it's something that is a negative thing. But when you feel expanded, after you made a decision, after you go into that direction, then it's something that is positive for you. So different people have different ways of looking at positive and negative things. But positive and negative thinking, you will know whether are they limiting beliefs, in a sense that if you have a dream and is your negative self-talk. Like a lot of times we talk about what are the things that are unavailable to us. Like we form a dream, and then then we will tell ourselves, that can never happen to me because I don't have the ability. The opportunity will never come to me. I'm not good enough. So I guess this is something that we need to think about, especially when we grow older. We will have more and more limiting beliefs because of the experiences that we have. And it's not wrong to have limiting beliefs at the start, because these are your survival instincts. You need all these beliefs to keep you safe. It's your brain's natural ability to gravitate towards what is familiar. But when you want to follow your dreams, when you want to lead a more happier life, more fulfilling life, when you want to do bigger things, when you want to inspire people, then you don't dare to speak up, because your limiting beliefs are there to stop you. So these are things that you can take note of.
Jules, you also mentioned about feel connected and build relationship is very important. But how do we continue to feel connected and also build relationship during the circuit breaker period?
Yeah, right now, there's a lot of courses like this that you can take on. Like even for SUSS, right now we have this 1 whole week, 2 weeks of workshops that we can attend. And there's a lot of platforms like, have you ever heard of meetup.com? Meetup.com actually enables you to go in, and there's a lot of groups, different groups, different hobbies that you can take on. Like last week, I attended a talk on, I think, philosophy. And it's a whole group of people just talking about philosophy. So it doesn't have to be any specific group. It just depending on what you like. Just go for it and search for it. Because now Google is your friend. If you don't know how to use Google, just reach out and then we can show you how to use it. Yeah.
Of course, I think the participants can also check out PA Course Facebook. Yeah, because as I mentioned, we have many sessions till 8th of May. And then, so register and join us from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And tomorrow, actually, we will have fitness sessions with Sport SG also. So this will be also one way for you to feel connected and build relationship. So you turn on your video and then you will see other people and you also make yourself happy. Okay, let me see any other questions. Okay, so another question is, when we feel lonely during the COVID, what can we do?
Well, I think when you feel lonely, right, and you are looking outside for validation, then we have to always go back to our circle of control. Like, just now the happiness continuum, there's the happy for bad reason, happy for good reason, and the happy for no reason. Happy for no reason means you are happy despite of external circumstances. And if you are feeling lonely, is it because there's something that you have not resolved in your past? Or is it because you do not dare to reach out to someone? A lot of people, like even right now, there's an initiative, it's called the Project Buddy, where we can actually reach out to volunteers. There's a lot of volunteers out there in the Project Buddy where you can connect even on a deeper level, on one-to-one. You can actually have conversations with them. But at the moment, I think the seniors, they need more seniors to partner up with all these volunteers. So if you are feeling lonely, do reach out, and there's a lot of help or a lot of avenues where you can find connections and build relationships. But the first step that you need to take is really to have courage to understand what are you feeling. And there's no shame in feeling lonely, because really relationships are a basic tenets of humanity, and it's a way of telling you to take actions. It's just emotional data. When you feel lonely, it's your body telling you that you need to take action.
So, Jules, do you mind if you go back to your happiness continuums, the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah, I think one participant actually is very interested in this. Yeah. So can you explain more about happy for no reason?
So happy for no reason, like I said, there's the happiness that comes from external circumstances, and then there's happiness that comes from internal, your internal power, where you find internal state of peace and well-being. So in order to find happiness, there's a few pillars that you need to look at. There's the pillar of the mind, which I talk about. That means your belief systems. Don't believe your mind. Then there's the pillar of your body, which is how you take care of yourself. Because what you eat actually affects your mood. What you eat can actually affect whether you are happy or unhappy the next day. Like for example, when you eat a lot of sugar, you'll feel the crash, and then you become annoyed very easily. Then there's the pillar of relationships, which we already have talked about. Then there's also the pillar of meaning and purpose. So basically in the book, she talks about 7 pillars, which is too long to talk about, to discuss during this whole session. But if you're interested, we can definitely have another session next time. Just go to affirmativepeople.com and we can actually have a session on just happiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see whether we have any other questions. Okay, maybe one last question. How do I manage if people close to me think I am unrealistic to follow my dream?
One thing that I always tell people is, if the dream is yours and it's within your circle of control, then there's no dream that is unrealistic. People have gone to the moon. What do you think the society will say when the person who go to the moon first talk about his dream? So the issue here, right, is really unrealistic. It's unrealistic if it involves other people. For example, I volunteer at a shelter for abused and neglected children. And a lot of the women, they don't have dreams of their own. Their dreams sometimes can consist of, oh, I dream that my son will become a lawyer. That to me is an impossible dream. That is unrealistic dreams, because you're putting all your hopes and your dreams on somebody else, and that somebody else actually have their own pathway in life. But if you are really so so motivated to want to do something about law, then go ahead and study and take up courses and learn about law. So what I'm trying to say here is there's nothing that is impossible, because there's such a thing called lifelong learning. Like in SUSS, the last when I was taking the course, I think there's someone who's aged about 70 years old taking the course. And even our professor, Dr. Kalyani, I think she took her PhD when she was in her 50s, if I'm not wrong. And that is really something very, 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 to me, it's very inspiring. Because lifelong learning and pursuing your dreams, there's no such thing as too big a dream, as long as the dream is yours.
Yeah, so actually Professor Kalyani is in this session too. Yeah, I guess, if you want to talk to her or meet her, yeah, through the virtual world, next week, you can actually look forward to her sessions. Okay, so I have a few more questions. Because of the time, maybe I just take one more if you all don't mind. Yeah, and so how do I reach out to an elderly couple who is homebound and has no internet connections?
Okay, so this case, right, I think I'm not sure about the law, but I think the law says that if you know that this couple needed help, then I think, I'm not sure. I mean, this one really have to check the guidelines. But I don't see how one person or the social worker, I don't see why the social worker is not able to visit them and teach them how to use or how to connect with the outer world. But really, sometimes we do not have access to people. Like, for example, I have one client who was really very upset. She's a US citizen, and she has a mom that is staying in one of the nursing homes. But US, they had their lockdown much earlier than us. And during that time, she was not able to visit her mom at all. And the mom is on palliative care, and she knows that the mom may not have long, and the mom may just go off anytime. And it's really a difficult time for her. So when the meditation that I did earlier was the loving kindness meditation. So that's when you send your love and your regards to someone, even if you don't have access to them. So sometimes all they need is just the loving kindness and the loving thought that you can actually radiate to them.
Yeah, someone actually made a very good suggestion and said that maybe lend the person tablet and install internet, or give the person a smartphone with data plan. Actually, what I know, currently we also have a lot of volunteers. They try to call the elderly couple also. Yeah, maybe we cannot see each other's, but I think the neighborhood support, yeah, and then we can actually see elderly and maybe, volunteer. If you volunteer in any elderly organizations, then you can actually call them and then talk to them and then let them stay connected. Yeah, I understand that Harvard has, study, took around 80 years to study about what is happiness. And then one thing is very important is about the relationship. Yeah, and so maybe we can stay connected. Yeah, and again, maybe because it's almost the end of these sessions, maybe
Dr.
at the
Carol,
end, yes?
I think there's also such a thing called SG Assist. If you can, just download the app called SG Assist and put up a request in SG Assist to see how they can help the seniors and give the provision.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so there's a lot of supporting organizations in Singapore. So let's support each others. Yeah, and so what I actually want to do is, let me ask for another appeal and see whether you are willing to turn on your video at the end. So we can do some exercise together, because why we are all here is because we all care for our elderly and family members. Yeah, what we want to, conclude with some encouragement of love by clapping our hand. So have you heard about what is, encouragement of love? So you can turn on your mic. Yeah, and if you want, so turn on your mic. Yeah, and Jules, yeah, you know how to do the clapping?
Yes.
Okay, so how about you do a first, and then we follow you.
Okay, so it sounds like this.
Okay, so this is actually called encouragement of love. So I think in this critical moment, we need to support each other. So let's, you know, turn on our mic and also video, and then we do it as a one up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so thank you very much to attend these sessions. We are very honored here to host these sessions. Remember, we still have many sessions till 8th of May. To check out PA course Facebook, register and join us from every day 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Tomorrow, we will have fitness sessions with Sport SG. Let's do exercise together. Again, remember to stay at home, maintain social distancing, and also wear a mask if you go out. Okay, so thank you very much and hope you enjoy the day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.